The giant screen in Times Square flickered to life, interrupting regular broadcasts across the planet. People stopped and stared as the strange face appeared. It wasn't human. The being had purple skin, 6 eyes arranged in a circle, and spoke with a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "People of Earth, I am High Arbiter Scathal of the Galactic Confederation. We have been watching your planet for some time. You are now invited to join our alliance of species." The world changed that day. After weeks of careful talks between world leaders and the aliens, humanity learned the truth. Earth wasn't being invited as an equal. They would have to earn their place. Commander Alex Mitchell stood at attention in the White House meeting room. At 42, with short brown hair and steady hands, he had spent 20 years in special forces. Now he faced his strangest mission yet. "Commander Mitchell, you've been selected to lead our team," said the president. "The aliens have challenged us to something called the Grand Trials." Beside Alex stood Olivia Rice, the top diplomat who had first made contact with the aliens. Her calm voice had helped prevent panic during first contact. "The trials determine each species' rank in their society," Olivia explained. "Higher ranks get better planets, more resources, and more votes in their council." Alex nodded. "What exactly are these trials?" The room darkened as a hologram appeared, showing a massive arena with strange creatures fighting. "Combat," said the president. "But there's a catch. No manufactured weapons allowed. The aliens believe this puts us at a disadvantage since we don't have natural weapons like claws or poison." Alex studied the images. Most alien species were larger than humans. Some had thick armor. Others had multiple limbs or natural weapons. "How do we compete against that?" he asked. Olivia smiled. "We use what makes humans special: our minds." 3 days later, Alex and Olivia met their team. John Carter, a martial arts expert who had studied fighting styles from around the world. Kate Murphy, an engineer who could build almost anything from almost nothing. Sam Wright, a physicist whose understanding of natural laws might give them an edge. And Zoe Martinez, a strategy expert who spotted patterns others missed. They gathered in a secure facility as Scathal's face appeared on screen. "Humans," the alien said, "you will have 30 Earth days to prepare for the trials. You may bring 6 representatives. Remember, no manufactured weapons are permitted in the arena." After the screen went dark, Alex faced his team. "They think we're weak because we don't have natural weapons." "They're wrong," said John, demonstrating a move that used an opponent's strength against them. "Humans have been fighting without weapons for thousands of years." Kate examined the arena footage. "Look at the environment. Rocks, water, plants. If we can't bring weapons, we'll make them there," finished Sam, his eyes lighting up. "Using basic physics and what's available." Zoe pointed to the screen. "The other species rely on their natural advantages. They don't adapt well. That's our edge." As the team trained, news of the challenge spread across Earth. Some people feared failure would mean Earth's resources would be taken. Others saw opportunity for humanity to prove itself. The day before departure, Alex found Olivia looking at the stars. "Worried?" he asked. "A little," she admitted. "We're about to face creatures from nightmare, with nothing but our wits." Alex smiled. Throughout history, that's when humans are at their best. The next morning, the team boarded the alien shuttle. As Earth grew smaller behind them, the massive Confederation ship grew larger ahead. It was bigger than any human city, a metal world housing thousands of species. "Remember," Alex told his team as they approached, "they banned weapons because they think it makes us helpless. Let's show them how wrong they are." The ship's doors opened, welcoming the first humans to leave their solar system and enter a universe more dangerous and wonderful than they had ever imagined. The human team stepped off the shuttle into a vast docking bay. Creatures of all shapes and sizes moved around them. Some walked on many legs, others floated above the ground. The air smelled strange, like metal and sweet fruit mixed together. Stay close, Alex said as they followed a tall, thin alien with blue skin. The guide led them through wide halls to their quarters. The rooms were plain but comfortable enough. A large window showed the stars and a view of the arena, a massive bowl structure attached to the station. The trials begin tomorrow, the blue alien said. You may observe today's matches to prepare. After the guide left, the team gathered in the main room. We need to see what we're up against, said Alex. Zoe, Sam, I want you both watching those matches. Look for patterns, weaknesses, anything we can use. The observation deck was crowded with aliens. Some glanced at the humans with what seemed like amusement. Others ignored them completely. Through the clear walls, they could see the arena clearly. Two creatures faced each other in the sand. One was like a giant lizard with thick plates on its back. The other resembled a furry spider the size of a car. The fight was quick and brutal. The spider shot sticky webs, but the lizard's natural armor protected it. When the lizard charged, its opponent couldn't escape. The match ended with the spider pinned under powerful claws. Did you see that? Whispered Sam to Kate. The gravity seems adjusted to match Earth normal. Kate nodded. And the air looks breathable for all species. They must change the environment to suit each match. They watched 4 more fights. Each showed species using natural abilities. Poison stingers, powerful jaws, camouflage that made them nearly invisible. Back in their quarters, the team shared what they learned. The rules prevent bringing manufactured weapons, said Kate, her eyes bright with excitement. But they don't say anything about making weapons there. Exactly, said Sam. The arena has water, rocks, plants, basic materials we can work with. John spread a rough map he had drawn of the arena. I saw at least 3 different terrain types: desert, forest, and something like a swamp. The other species rely on their natural weapons, Zoe added. They don't adapt much to the environment. They just use what they were born with. That's our advantage, said Alex. Humans have always used their surroundings. The door chimed, and Olivia let in their blue guide. Behind him stood a massive creature with red scales and horn-like growths on its head. This is Vrax of the Draki, said the guide, champion of the last 3 trials. Vrax looked down at the humans with 6 yellow eyes. So you are the soft creatures from the blue planet. You have no shells, no claws, no venom. His voice rumbled like distant thunder. What will you do when faced with real warriors? Alex stepped forward. We'll win. Vrax made a sound like rocks grinding together, a laugh. I look forward to seeing you try. He turned and left. Your first match is tomorrow, the guide said, against the Vganar. After he left, Olivia turned on a screen showing recordings of previous Vganar matches. The creatures were like armored rhinos, with thick skin and a single powerful horn. Direct combat would be suicide, said John. Then we don't fight directly, Kate replied. She pointed to the arena map. Look, there's a waterfall in the forest section. Water has power. Wait, we can use that. Through the night, the team planned, while other species slept, confident in their natural abilities. The humans worked. They studied the arena, practiced techniques, and designed simple machines that could be built quickly from natural materials. Morning came too soon. As they prepared to enter the arena, Alex gathered his team. They think we're weak because we don't have natural weapons, he said. Let's show them what humans can really do. The doors opened to bright lights and the roar of thousands of alien spectators. The humans walked into the arena, ready to surprise everyone watching. The arena was larger than it had looked from above. The human team stood on one side, facing a heavy metal door on the opposite end. Around them spread a mix of terrains. To their right was dense forest with a waterfall. To their left a rocky area with boulders and small caves. The center was an open field of packed dirt. Thousands of alien spectators watched from the stands. Their different voices created a constant buzz like angry bees. High above, in a special box, sat High Arbiters Cathal and other important aliens. A loud horn sounded. The metal door across the arena slowly opened. "Remember the plan," Alex said quietly. "Stay together. Head for the waterfall." The Vikanar charged out of the doorway. It was even bigger than it had looked in the recordings, like a rhinoceros, but with thicker armor and a horn that gleamed like metal. It pawed the ground, small eyes fixed on the humans, and let out a roar that shook the air. The crowd cheered, expecting a quick end to the match. "Now," said Alex, and the team ran toward the forest. The Vikanar charged after them, its heavy body surprisingly fast. The humans reached the trees just before it caught them. The creature slowed, forced to push between the trunks, breaking smaller trees as it came. "Sam, Kate, get started," Alex ordered. "John, Olivia, with me." While Sam and Kate hurried to the waterfall, the others spread out among the trees. The Vikanar seemed confused, turning its head to track different humans. John picked up a stone and threw it, hitting the creature's side. The stone bounced off harmlessly, but the Vikanar turned toward the sound. "Over here," called Zoe from another direction. One by one, they called and moved, keeping the Vikanar turning in circles. It grew angry, charging at trees, getting its horn stuck, then pulling free with frustrated roars. By the waterfall, Sam and Kate worked quickly. They gathered vines and flexible branches, testing their strength. Kate showed Sam how to tie special knots that would hold under pressure. Together, they built a simple frame beside the falling water. "Ready," Kate called after 15 minutes. Alex and the others began moving in a pattern they had practiced, drawing the Vikanar toward the waterfall. The creature was tired now, breathing heavily, but still dangerous. "In position," Sam confirmed, hidden behind a large rock near their trap. The plan relied on perfect timing. Alex stood in the open, directly in the Vikanar's path. The creature saw him and lowered its head to charge. "Now," Alex shouted. As the Vikanar rushed forward, Alex dove to the side. The creature's momentum carried it past him, straight toward the waterfall. Sam pulled a vine, releasing part of their trap. A net of branches and vines fell from above, landing on the Vikanar's back. The creature roared in surprise but wasn't stopped. It crashed through the net and continued toward Kate, who stood by the waterfall. At the last second, Kate jumped aside and pulled another vine. This triggered their main trap, a system of logs and rocks arranged to direct the waterfall's flow. Water suddenly poured onto the rocky area where the Vikanar now stood. The ground quickly turned to mud under the creature's feet. It slipped, tried to stand, and sank deeper. The more it struggled, the more it sank. Within minutes, the powerful Vikanar was trapped in mud up to its belly, unable to move forward or back. A horn sounded. The match was over. The arena fell silent. Then murmurs spread through the crowd. No species had defeated a Vikanar without directly fighting it before. In the official's box, High Arbiters Cathal leaned forward, all 6 eyes fixed on the humans. "The match goes to Earth," announced a voice that echoed through the arena. As the team gathered together, aliens in the stands began to make different sounds. Some seemed impressed, others angry or confused. "That was just the beginning," said Alex as they walked toward the exit. "They'll make it harder next time." Olivia looked up at the alien spectators. "They're not sure what to make of us." "Good," said Kate with a smile. "Let's keep them guessing." News of the human victory spread quickly through the space station. Aliens stared as the team walked back to their quarters. Some moved aside, while others came closer, curious about these strange creatures who had defeated a Vikanar without claws or fangs. In a large meeting room, the Confederation Council gathered. They sat in a circle, each species on raised platforms according to their rank. High Arbiters Cathal presided over them. "The humans used trickery," complained the Vikanar representative, his voice deep and angry. "They did not fight properly." "They broke no rules," replied a small bird-like alien. The rules state no manufactured weapons. They used only what was in the arena. Perhaps the rules should be changed, suggested another. Skthal raised a hand for silence. The rules remain. However, the humans have shown unexpected cleverness. Their next challenge shall be more difficult. Back in their quarters, the human team celebrated their victory. But Alex kept them focused. This was just the first test, he reminded them. They'll be ready for our tricks next time. A message arrived on their screen. Their next match would be in 2 days against the Krell, a species with 6 arms and incredible speed. Sam pulled up recordings of previous Krell matches. The aliens moved like lightning, overwhelming opponents before they could react. "We can't outrun them," said John. "And there's 6 of them versus our 5. "Then we find another way," Kate replied. She pointed to the arena layout for the next match. "Look, it's mostly desert with some scattered rocks. Not much to work with." Zoe studied the Krell movements. They attack as a group, always from different directions. But they follow patterns. For hours, they planned and debated. Eventually, Kate and Sam began drawing diagrams, while John taught the others specific defensive moves. The next morning, the team received a visitor, a small green alien with large eyes. "I am Mick, assistant to the High Arbiter," it said. "I bring a message. Many species are watching your matches with great interest. Some are concerned about your methods." "We follow all rules," said Olivia firmly. Yes, Mick agreed. "But there is talk. The Draki champion, Vrax, has specifically requested to face you in the final round, should you advance that far." After Mick left, the team continued preparing. They practiced moves together, tested ideas with small models, and studied the Krell weaknesses. On Earth, billions watched the broadcasts. Schools stopped classes so children could see humans competing against aliens. Pride spread across the planet. The day of the match arrived. As the team entered the arena, they noticed more spectators than before. The stands were completely full. Even in the officials' box, more important aliens had gathered. The desert arena was hot and dry. Small rock formations dotted the landscape, but there was little else to work with. "Stick to the plan," Alex reminded them. The horn sounded. From the other side, 6 Krell entered. They were thin, with gray skin and 6 long arms. They moved with unnatural speed, spreading out immediately to surround the humans. "Now," said Alex. The humans split into pairs, Alex with John, Kate with Sam, and Zoe with Olivia. Each pair ran to different rock formations. The Krell attacked, just as Zoe had predicted. 2 went after each human pair, moving so quickly they seemed to blur. John and Alex defended themselves with the moves they had practiced, not trying to win but simply to keep the Krell occupied. Meanwhile, Kate and Sam worked frantically at their rock formation, piling stones in a specific pattern. "Ready," called Sam after a few minutes. "Phase 2," Alex shouted. All 3 human pairs suddenly ran toward the center of the arena, the Krell chasing close behind. As they met in the middle, the humans dropped to the ground. The Krell, unable to stop their momentum, crashed into each other. In that moment of confusion, Kate threw a small stone at the pile they had built. It struck perfectly, causing a chain reaction. Stones tumbled down, hitting others, which hit more rocks, until a wide circle of dust rose around the Krell. The dust was so thick the Krell couldn't see. They began to cough and stumble, their coordination broken. The humans, who had prepared by tying cloth over their mouths and noses, moved in quickly. Using the techniques John had taught them, they used leverage rather than strength to throw the disoriented Krell to the ground. Within minutes, all 6 Krell were disabled, and the humans stood victorious again. The crowd roared, some in approval, others in disbelief. In the officials' box, Vrax watched with narrowed eyes. This time, he was not laughing. The human team now faced a new problem. Their success had made them famous. Aliens followed them through the station, watching everything they did. Some were curious, others hostile. Finding privacy to plan had become difficult. "They're studying us," said Zoe as they gathered in their quarters, "just like we study them." Their screen lit up with a message. They had reached the semifinals. Their next opponent would be the Macquarie, a species that could change their skin color like chameleons and move without making sound. "This will be tough," said John. "We won't be able to see or hear them coming." Sam had been quiet, thinking deeply. Now he looked up. "I've been watching how they set up the arena for each match. There's a pattern. The terrain is chosen to favor the species ranked higher in their system. And we're ranked near the bottom," said Kate, understanding immediately. "So they'll give the Macquarie an advantage." Alex paced the room. "We need to find a way to detect them without seeing or hearing them." That night, Sam and Kate stayed up late, working on small experiments with materials they had gathered from their meals in quarters. By morning, they had a plan. The next day, the team entered the arena to face their toughest challenge yet. As Sam had predicted, the terrain favored the Macquarie, a dense jungle with many places to hide. The humans couldn't see their opponents enter, but they knew the Macquarie were there. Somewhere in the thick plants, invisible enemies were stalking them. "Begin," Alex said quietly. The team split into two groups. Kate, Sam, and Zoe moved to a clearing and began gathering materials. Alex and John stood guard, backs together, watching the jungle around them. "Movement, 2 o'clock," whispered John, spotting a slight bend in a leaf when no wind was blowing. The team had developed a series of hand signals. John's fingers tapped a quick message on Alex's arm. Alex nodded and casually moved his foot, pressing down on a stick. It made a soft snap. In the clearing, Kate heard the signal. She and Sam worked faster, gathering certain leaves and crushing them between rocks. They mixed the paste with dirt and water from a small stream. A sudden rustle was the only warning before something slammed into John, knocking him down. The air seemed to ripple as a Macquarie briefly became visible, then disappeared again. "Hurry," called Alex as he helped John up. Kate and Sam finished their mixture. It looked like simple mud, but it wasn't. The leaves they had chosen contained a sticky sap. They coated the ground around the clearing with the mixture. "Ready," called Kate. Alex and John ran to the clearing, joining the others in the center. The team stood in a tight circle, facing outward. They waited. The attack came from all sides at once. 4 Macquarie charged the clearing, but as they crossed the mud-covered ground, they slowed. The sticky mixture clung to their feet. Worse, it stuck to their skin, revealing their outlines even though their color still matched the background. "There," said Alex, pointing to a mud outline shape. Now able to see their opponents, the humans could defend themselves. John used his martial arts training to flip one Macquarie, using its own momentum. Alex tackled another. Kate and Zoe worked together to trip a third. Sam faced the 4th Macquarie alone. The alien was still stronger and had sharp claws, but Sam remembered his physics. He dodged the alien's lunge and used a small rock as a lever, flipping the much heavier creature onto its back. Within minutes, all 4 Macquarie were defeated. The semifinal was over. The crowd's reaction was different this time. Instead of shock or anger, many aliens cheered. The humans had earned respect. As the team left the arena, a group of young aliens from different species approached them. "How did you know which leaves to use?" one asked. "How did you make the sticky trap?" Before Alex could answer, guards pushed through the crowd. With them came Vrax, the Draki champion. "Enjoy your victory, humans," he growled. "Tomorrow, you face me in the final match, and I am not so easily tricked." The guards moved the crowd back, but not before one small alien slipped a note into Olivia's hand. Later, in their quarters, she read it aloud. "The final arena will be fire caves. Vrax has never lost there." The team looked at each other. This would be their greatest challenge yet. The fire caves were exactly what the name suggested, a network of rocky tunnels with pools of liquid fire bubbling throughout. Heat filled the air, making it hard to breathe. The human team stood at the entrance, sweat already running down their faces. "Stay cool," said Alex, trying to sound confident. "We've come too far to lose now." Across the caves, on a raised rock platform, stood Vrax. The Draki's red scales seemed to glow in the firelight. He looked perfectly comfortable in the heat. This was his territory. High Arbiter's Skithal's voice boomed through the arena. "The final match of the Grand Trials begins now. Earth versus the Draki Dominion." A horn sounded, and Vrax immediately jumped from his platform, moving with surprising speed for his size. The humans scattered, following their plan to separate and use the cave system to their advantage. Alex ran down one tunnel with Vrax close behind. The Draki was faster than expected. As Alex turned a corner, Vrax's clawed hand grabbed his shoulder, throwing him against the wall. Pain shot through Alex's body as he hit the hard rock. "First blood to me," growled Vrax, showing sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. Before he could strike again, John appeared from a side tunnel, throwing a handful of loose rocks. The distraction gave Alex enough time to scramble away, but he was clearly injured, holding his arm at an awkward angle. "Fall back," John called. The two humans retreated deeper into the caves. Vrax followed more cautiously now, aware that the humans were trying to lead him somewhere. But his confidence remained high. The fire caves enhanced his natural strengths while weakening the soft-skinned humans. Meanwhile, in another part of the caves, Sam, Kate, and Olivia worked frantically. They had found what they needed, a large chamber where the ceiling was lined with crystal formations, and several fire pools bubbled at different heights. "It's perfect," said Sam, kneeling despite the heat to draw diagrams in the dust. "If we can get everything in position." "Hurry," urged Olivia, keeping watch at the tunnel entrance. "Alex is hurt, and they're leading Vrax this way." Kate climbed carefully up the rocky wall, testing crystal formations. "This one's loose," she called, working to adjust its position slightly. Sam moved between the fire pools, using a long stick to test their consistency. "The liquid is thicker in this one, more like oil." The sounds of running feet echoed through the tunnel. John appeared, supporting Alex, who was clearly in pain. "He's right behind us," John gasped. "Get in position," ordered Olivia. Vrax entered the chamber slowly, his eyes taking in the scene. All 5 humans stood together in the center, nowhere to run. Finally, the Draki said, "No more tricks, no more running." He stepped forward, claws extended. "Now," shouted Sam. Kate pushed a small rock from her perch high on the wall. It fell, striking a crystal formation with a clear ringing sound. The sound bounced off other crystals, growing louder, creating a specific tone that echoed through the chamber. Vrax paused, confused by the sound. The humans covered their ears, having expected it. The vibrations spread through the chamber, causing the crystals to resonate at exactly the frequency Sam had calculated. The entire cave began to shake. Small rocks fell from the ceiling. But that wasn't the real plan. The vibration affected the fire pools, too. The thick, oil-like liquid began to bubble more violently. Then, suddenly, one pool erupted like a geyser, shooting burning liquid upward. The fire struck the crystals above, which split the light and heat, reflecting it around the chamber in a pattern Kate had carefully arranged. Within seconds, a web of light surrounded Vrax, heating the ground beneath his feet until the rock glowed red. The Draki roared in surprise. Even his heat-resistant scales couldn't handle this concentrated fire. He tried to move, but everywhere he stepped, the reflected heat followed, guided by the precise arrangement of crystals. "Yield," called Alex, still holding his injured arm. "You can't win." For a moment, Vrax's 6 eyes burned with hatred. Then, slowly, he lowered his head. "I yield," he growled. The horn sounded, signaling the end of the match. The humans had won the grand trials. The Great Hall of the Confederation was filled with representatives from hundreds of alien species. They sat in rows that rose high above the floor. At the center stood the human team, cleaned and dressed in new uniforms bearing Earth's symbol. High Arbiter Scythal sat on a raised platform, all six eyes focused on the humans. Beside him were other important officials, including Vrax, who wore formal armor that covered his burn marks from the final match. "The grand trials are complete," announced Scythal, his voice carrying through the hall. "Earth has proven its place among the stars. According to our ancient laws, they will receive the rank of their final opponent." Murmurs spread through the crowd. The Draki held the third highest rank in the Confederation. Earth would jump ahead of dozens of other species who had been part of the Alliance for centuries. "Before we formalize this decision," continued Scythal, "the Earth representatives may address the Confederation." Olivia stepped forward. She had prepared a speech with the team, knowing this moment was important not just for them, but for all of humanity. "Members of the Galactic Confederation," she began, "we came here as strangers, challenged to prove our worth in combat. You expected us to fail because we lack natural weapons." She looked around the hall, meeting the eyes of many different species. "But humans have never relied on claws or armor or poison. Our greatest strength is here." She touched her head. "And here." She placed her hand over her heart. "We survived on Earth by learning, adapting, and working together. When we couldn't outfight predators, we outsmarted them. When we couldn't fly, we built machines to carry us into the sky. When we couldn't swim underwater, we created tools to explore the depths." The hall was silent now, every alien listening closely. The arena was meant to test our worth through combat. Instead, we turned it into a classroom. We showed how knowledge can overcome physical strength, how cooperation can defeat superior numbers. Olivia turned to look at Vrax, who stared back with unblinking eyes. "We don't want to take the Draki's rank. We don't seek to rise by pushing others down. Instead, we offer a new way forward." Alex stepped forward now, his arm still in a sling but his voice strong. "We propose a new kind of competition," he said, "one that tests all our strengths, not just fighting ability. Problems that can only be solved when different species work together, sharing their unique abilities." Reactions spread through the crowd. Some aliens nodded in approval, others looked confused or angry. Skull raised a hand for silence. "You would reject the rank you earned. This has never happened in the history of the Confederation." "We don't reject it," said Sam, joining his teammates. "We want to earn it differently. Through cooperation, not combat." For a long moment, Scythal was silent, his six eyes blinking in sequence. Finally, he stood. "The humans have surprised us from the beginning," he said. "Now they surprise us again with wisdom. I propose we consider their suggestion." To everyone's shock, Vrax rose from his seat. "The humans defeated me fairly," he said, his deep voice rumbling through the hall. "I have had time to think about how they did it. Not with strength, but with intelligence and teamwork. Perhaps there is something to learn from them." That simple statement from the proud Draki changed everything. One by one, other species voiced support for the human proposal. Within hours, the first plans were drawn up for a new kind of trial. Challenges that required different species to combine their abilities and knowledge. As the human team prepared to return to Earth with news of their success, Mick, the small green alien, approached them. "You have changed the Confederation," he said. "For thousands of years, we ranked species by their ability to fight. Now we will begin to value other strengths." Kate smiled. "That was our real victory." On the shuttle ride back to Earth, the team looked out at the stars with new eyes. They had gone to prove humanity's worth in an alien arena. Instead, they had given the galaxy a lesson about what humans do best: turning challenges into opportunities, finding new solutions to old problems, and bringing people together to build something better than before.